Hi, Abraham. I am so overwhelmed to be here. Thank you.
We're having a good time, aren't we?
Yes. Excellent time.
Yeah.
So my question is,
You know what overwhelmed is? Overwhelmed is more energy coming than you've quite practiced containing.
Yeah.
Sort of overjoyed is like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not more here than you can handle.
I know.
Yeah.
I just have to contain myself. I've been waiting for so long.
Well, we've used up all your time.
Well, so my question is, I'm about 6 months pregnant, and it's been a great blessing because I've always wanted to have children, but I feel so unprepared.
Oh, well, it'll get worse.
Well, that's good news, I guess.
We come for reassurance always.
Well,
well, you got to understand, this baby coming forth is very high frequency, and so getting prepared is really an energetic thing more than anything, isn't it?
Yes.
What did you mean when you feel unprepared? What do you mean?
I have no clue I don't know what's going to happen. And I know that's supposed to be the exciting part, but I've always been sort of a control freak.
Well, now think about it. So think about it. So here comes this consciousness. Knowing generally that all is really well, mm-hmm. and not knowing the specifics, but still willing to be born.
Right.
Now, if you want to talk about brave, there's not bravery, because there's knowing of well-being, general knowing of well-being, not specific knowing of well-being. Mm-hmm. And so you just got to do the same thing. Just get in that general knowing of well-being, not specific knowing of well-being. There are too many moving parts.
Right.
And when you think about it, we used to talk about Esther's preparation for traveling, and how the idea of planning everything, knowing everything, because there's quite a bit of preparation that can be done in advance. Mm-hmm. These wonderful people were up most of the night getting this room ready for you, because there was an event in this room before. And so even though they got here and they didn't have their usual leisurely setup in the afternoon, still they were able to just sort of roll with whatever was happening, knowing that it would all work out all right. And that's sort of the way you have to approach life in general. It's just exacerbated a little bit when you have something new that is happening to you, like giving birth to infinite intelligence. Right. But what we're getting at here is, rather than trying to plan everything, which no one can ever do, no matter how much time you spend and how good at planning you are and organizing you are, doesn't it make sense to you that if you prepare your grid, which means you're working on bringing your vibration up to the level of what is in your vortex, and therefore you'll be in the place where there's high probability of receiving inspiration continually. Doesn't that make more sense? Rather than trying to consciously orchestrate everything, doesn't it make sense to just hook up with the guidance that will always take you in the right place at the right time?
Of course. It's just that it's topsy-turvy. It's up one day, it's down the next.
Well, when you're feeling good, ride it, and when you're not feeling good, go general. Give us an example. What are you freaking out about?
Well, I'm mostly freaking out about the fact that I'm having a girl, by the way, and her dad has just not been, very willing to participate at all.
Oh, who cares?
But that's really what I'm really freaking out about.
Don't let that be the reason that you don't align with. In other words, we just said to you, all you got to do is prepare your grid, and you'll be in perfect alignment with everything that you put into the vortex. So everything that you're needing to know, everything that you're wanting to know, everything about this wonderful co-creative experience between you and your baby will unfold in this really wonderful and what will appear to be magical way to anyone who's looking on. And then you say, but I just might, because there is this other person who isn't cooperating in the way that I think he should, I might use him as my excuse not to do any of that grid work. And we say, why would you use anything as your excuse not to do your grid work when what we just told you about the grid preparation means that you'll intuitively know everything that you... In other words, doors will just open for the two of you in wonderful, wonderful ways, unless you use that reason to close the doors.
Right.
What you want to do is just find appreciation for the participation that happened so far that brought this pregnancy about, and then leave it at that.
I can feel that.
And we know there are responsibilities, and there's the financial thing and all of that, and we say, hear what we're saying about this grid and watch everything flow in. And we're not saying that some of it won't come from there, but we are saying under those conditions, feeling like you do, it can't possibly come from there.
That's what I've realized. And I mean, up to this point, I've gone almost 6 months, as I said, and it was miserable in the beginning because of all of, the nonsense and just not having it the way I wanted it. And I've been at this for a long time, as you mentioned before. Esther says, I've been at this for a long time. Since I was 12 years old, I started learning about law of attraction, learning about metaphysics and so forth. And I've been able to, I went to the college I wanted to go to. I finished. I majored in the major I wanted to. I have the job that I want. I have the career that I want. But that aspect of my life, and now I'm having the child that I want to have, but still my relationship is in shambles completely. That's what I'm seeing, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, why can't I fix that part?
Because my relationship is in the catalytic place. My relationship is in the launching of clarity place.
But it's been there for so long. It's been there forever, it feels like, and it would be nice for...
But you see, for it to change, you have to make peace with that. Because as we attempted to coach you into words that would serve you better, you took it right back into the words that don't serve you at all.
Gotcha.
In other words, you said, no, but it's not moving. And we said, it's serving you in that it's putting more in the vortex. And as you prepare your grid, what's in there will flow. But you interrupted, and it's logical that you would do that. It's all right. And said, but it hasn't been moving. And we say, because something hasn't been moving is not the reason that it will not move. Right. The reason it is not moving is because you keep saying it hasn't been moving. Change those words. It hasn't been moving very well, but it's moving along now. And the clarity that's coming to me is so much more than it has been before. And I have this new relationship and this new point of focus that's going to put me in a whole new place. And this catalyst of having this child come forth is in answer to so many things that I've been wanting, is going to make it easier and easier for my energy to line up with what's in it. And so we just have a few questions for you. Sure. Would you say that there are currently in your vortex, ready to hatch for you, wonderful aspects to a perfect relationship?
Absolutely.
Well, it's good that you know that.
I know that. Why hasn't it come?
Would you say that since that relationship exists, that it needs to show itself to you right now, or the timing of it is not so important?
I suppose the timing isn't important.
Would you say the timing of it has to do with the way you feel?
Sure. Yes, it does.
Would you say impatience messes up the timing?
It always does.
Would you say accepting what is and making the best of it improves the timing?
It does. It always has.
So it's just a matter of, in other words, there isn't anything that we know about this that you don't know. It's just that you're letting other stuff be active that isn't serving you, that's sort of based upon the human rhetoric. In other words, there's this human conversation that goes like this. Well, now that you have a baby, things are going to be harder for you. That is not true. That is a flawed premise. Now that you have this consciousness coming forth within you, you have 2 points of attraction that are serving you. And the combination of the co-creation of you and your child will put you in a much stronger place than you've ever been before. That is the reality of it. The human consciousness says, well, now that you are pregnant, the man who made you pregnant has responsibility to you and the child. And if he does not fulfill that responsibility, then you have reason to push against. And we say, flawed premise. There is no legitimate reason to push against anything, because in giving up the paltry, puny little pieces of financial remuneration that might come your way through that vortex, through that channel, you're giving up the energy that creates worlds. It is not a good trade-off, you see.
Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yes. What is interesting is, I mean, I didn't speak specifically about that, but it's interesting. Of course, you would touch on that, the financial part. I sort of put myself in the mind frame to just really let it go.
Yeah, because you don't need it.
Just chill. No, I don't.
But the fact that you don't need it doesn't separate you from the human consciousness that says you deserve it,
and
that he is doing wrong.
He's supposed to, and I just don't want. I wish I didn't. I don't want to care so much about what someone else is doing. That, you know, I can't control. I have no control over what anyone else does. I don't even have control over what the little one does. I have only control over myself and, you know, how I react.
Well, do you believe that that you've put the components of a wonderful relationship in your vortex?
Yes.
And do you believe that the universe and law of attraction can deliver the goods on that?
Of course.
Do you believe that this person is the path of least resistance to that?
No. No.
And so, isn't it a wonderful thing that he's out of the way?
Isn't it? Yes.
And so, you and your baby will just set to attracting that.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And then one day, you and your baby will be having a conversation, and she will say to you, "Do you remember when we married Daddy?" Yeah. She'll be in on all of that, you see.
Yeah.
Because your families are not biological. They are vibrational.
Vibrational. Yeah. Thank you very much.